I think most people here, is it on here? Know really basically what we're talking about in simple terms. This is about energy. This is the boundless emptiness. This is the formless form. All of this is simply the beloved in this form. This is nothing being everything. Whatever you're looking at is nothing being everything. It has no meaning or purpose of any kind. It just is what it is, apparently. But it's only apparently, it's not real. There's nothing that is real. Everything is only an appearance of nothing. It's like a boundless energy. It's boundless. It's everything and nothing. But within that boundlessness can arise a contracted energy, apparently. It's only another appearance. It's not real. But it seems to arise in the appearance. So nothing can arise as a contracted nothing. When contracted energy happens to the human being, because it's happening everywhere, on and off, apparently all the time. But when it happens to a human being, then the human being, at a very young age, feels that it's completely boundless without any sense of individuality. And then suddenly, what seems to happen in the body is contracted energy, like a tightness, some sort of fear or something. Something arises in the body, whereas before that there were no somethings, there was just everything. When the something arises, self-awareness or self-consciousness also arises for the individual. It's unique for the individual only. So there becomes a consciousness of the self in the body, which is associated with this contracted energy. The child grows up with that energy. And because it meets other people who live in that energy as well, of contracted self-awareness, then for the individual, that becomes normal. That's normal. It's normal to be aware of the self, to have a self. The other thing that's fundamental to this message is that the self is real. When the self takes form, for the individual, that selfness is real. And what comes together with that realness, the self, is the realness of the world. So the world is real, the universe is real, I am real, the story is real, free will and choice are real, and all of that is usually how most people live their lives, in dualism. So most people in the world are living in the dream of dualism, where they are real and they live in the real world, and they believe that they can take action to make that world or make their experience better or worse. That's what most people believe. But there's something dissatisfying about being separate from the whole. Most people wouldn't be able to identify that in those words, but deep down there's a dissatisfaction with not being at one, with not being everything, with only being a part. We're looking at a tree and seeing the tree as a real object over there, rather than it being another expression of the whole. So some people who feel quite sensitive about that begin to look for an answer. Why do I feel dissatisfied? And they might seek all sorts of things, religion, psychology, anything you like. But the problem is that all the time that there's a sense that everything is real, and I am real, and there's a story, all the time there's a real story, then what they look for is objectified. The freedom from their dissatisfaction that they look for is an object. It becomes an object that they can have. They might call it liberation, happiness, whatever you like, enlightenment. It doesn't have to be religious or spiritual, but it's an object. And the object is my satisfaction, my permanent satisfaction, my permanent happiness. I want that. and I don't have it at the moment. And because they objectify what they want, it makes the whole of the seeking that they perform in any way, no matter what it is, what sort of seeking, with richness and power and money and spirituality, doesn't matter what they look for, because they objectify what they look for, their search is utterly and wonderfully futile. It's totally and utterly futile because it's objectified. What they really long for can't be objectified. What the seeker really longs for can't be known. It can't be recognized. It can't be obtained. It can't be possessed. It already is this. It's this. It's what is here already. But the problem, if you say that to a seeker, the seeker will look for that. And in that energy of seeking, it will obscure the total wonder of what is by looking for it objectively. So that's what we're talking about here. That's really the basis of the discussion. It's totally radical. It has no relationship to anything that's known in terms of a following or religion. This isn't a religion. This isn't anything. It can't be described. But we can talk about it, and ideas will come up about what you feel about this and life and so on. And it's possible that some of the beliefs that are held, when they meet this very radical view, they may get a bit wobbly. But basically, actually, this is about energy. This is essentially about energy. The words are a vehicle. These words here and the words out there are just a vehicle for an energy that's floating on top of them. And the words are okay as a carrier, but basically what's happening here is that energetically there can be an opening to something far greater than anything the individual thinks they're looking for. Yeah!
Thanks. Tony, in the introduction you were talking about the feeling of dissatisfaction.
The
feeling of dissatisfaction.
Yeah.
And you've said in previous things I've watched that there's a huge sense of loss when the child feels separate.
So for some reason I can't hear that quite.
You've said before that when the child feels it's become separate, there's a huge sense of loss.
Yeah, and also a sense of self-awareness for you. Yeah, but there is a loss. Yeah.
Well, the reason I asked that is because when I first came in to the room earlier, I had this strong feeling. It was like in my chest, but it was a feeling of being rejected. Is that...
What was being rejected?
I felt like I was just rejected.
Right.
I can't even describe it, but it was just a painful feeling emotionally of not being good enough, being rejected. I was just standing at the back of the room because I thought I don't want people to see me because they're going to reject me. It's just like a fear about it. And it feels like all of my seeking and all of my striving is to escape that feeling of being rejected and unworthy.
Yeah.
Would you say that's...
They're generated from that energy, yeah. Is that what you're saying?
I'm asking, is that where all the seeking comes from? That's where all the seeking is driven by, is that feeling?
The seeking is driven by... the seeking is actually driven by the sense of being separate. The sense of being separate is the fundamental essence of seeking. Feeling separate is unsatisfying, and so what the seeker seeks is not to be separate. And as I explained before, the problem with that is that they objectify the idea of not being separate by looking for non-separation, whereas all there is non-separation. Even the sense of being separate is also the beloved. Even the sense of feeling separate is also nothing apparently happening. All there is nothing apparently happening. And the sense of frustration with being separate is that, or is what is happening.
So in that sense, when you say this, the feeling of separation is the beloved,
well, in my words, yeah.
I like that word.
Yeah.
There's that. Then there can't be any movement towards anything else.
There can't be any.
Like my sense that separation's not okay, and I need to overcome it somehow.
You think you can overcome it?
Well, by being in these meetings.
That's the problem. You think you can overcome it.
Yeah. You don't think I can overcome it? Even
How
with
can you overcome you being separate? The only way you could overcome, you can't overcome being separate, but you could die. People do die quite a lot, but not in the ordinary sense. But what happens with this sort of message is that the whole sense of the me being separate suddenly dies. But the only thing about that is that when it dies, it's suddenly recognised that it was never there anyway, it was never real.
We were talking about that when I rang you earlier this week, and I was saying to you, like, obviously there's people who come to your meetings for just like a short amount of time and then the whole thing collapses.
Oh yeah.
And then there's people who will come for like a longer
years
time.
And years.
And it's.
But they don't have to come here. There are people out in the world, in the apparent world, where this is happening, where this apparent death is happening. They don't have to listen to anything. It's not about listening to anything or coming to a meeting. It is simply that the energy of contraction simply is no more, and everything is that. And they wouldn't even know why it had happened or that it had happened necessarily. They would just be, that's the way it is.
The thing that I struggle with as well is that it could literally just be at any apparent moment. The whole thing goes.
Oh yeah, well, but it doesn't happen at any moment. It's all there is. What you're doing is making it something that will happen. The great problem for the seeker is it's going to happen one day, and it never will, of course, because it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen because it already is. How can it happen when it already is? Like the idea that it's going to happen is the same idea that some teachers have who claim to be members of the direct approach teaching. The direct approach is based on the idea that what you are looking for will happen one day. And that's utterly ridiculous because every step that the direct approach person makes to make it happen is actually it. Happening already. You can't make something happen that already is.
So it feels then like I'm wasting a lot of energy because one of the things that I'm always doing is tracking my progress. I know you've told me lots of times that there isn't any progress.
Well, of course not.
But I'm constantly like measuring my progress. Where was I last week? Where was I the week before? And am I less over me? And so,
well, because I told you yesterday that you're driven by your own cleverness, by your own intelligence. You're driven by your own personal me intelligence, which says in some way or other, I'm going to work this all out. That's what obscures what already is the innocence of childlike wonder.
Thank you, Tony.
But you can't doing that. There's nobody doing that. But that's apparently what's happening.
You talk about separation.
Apparent separation.
Yeah, apparent separation. Is it possible that in some cultures you have more a group culture and people feel less separated?
There are some people less separated and others more separated, but you still have a person that's separated, even if they're less separated.
But the people who are in a group culture, they suffer perhaps less because they feel they are
connected. But it doesn't make any difference. They're connected. Nothing makes any difference. All of that is meaningless. You know, the idea that somebody is a certain way, what we're talking about here, listen to this, what we're talking about here has absolutely nothing to do with you. What we're talking about here has absolutely nothing to do with you. What we're talking about here has absolutely nothing to do with you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hi, Tony. When you said before that this contraction happens in babies. You said it's
apparently happens.
Apparently, it's suddenly, or is it gradual?
Sorry?
Is it suddenly or is it gradual? You said suddenly.
Well, there isn't a suddenly or slowly, because there's no time. There is no time. There's nothing happening. It's just that in some way or other, what seems to emerge out of nothing is somebody who feels separate.
Okay. Thank you.
When it happens or how it happens, of course it doesn't really happen, but it appears. It's an appearance. There's nothing that's real. Everything is only an appearance.
And this contraction has nothing to do with family, education, school.
So I didn't get that.
This contraction, this feeling of becoming a person, an I, a me, it has nothing to do with your environment, with your school, with education.
No. It has nothing to do with you, which I've already essentially done. And it has nothing to do with anything, because everything is already the beloved. You're living in, you're sitting in that which you long for. But what you think it is something. Whereas actually it's everything. At the moment you're sitting in everything. Because if you look at what's happening right now, sitting on a seat, hearing a voice, feeling something in your body, whatever it is, that's the beloved. So you can't escape from that which you long for. But the trouble is that you think it's something more than that. So you're always looking elsewhere for something that already is. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, I remember one phrase of Kabir. It says like, Kabir, he is a Sufi saint from Sufism. Sufi, yeah. Well, as I understood, he said like, I laugh when I hear that the fish in the water is thirsty.
Oh right. Yeah.
And when you said like this, then I feel it's the same. It's the same thing, isn't it? Because the fish is already in the water.
In the water. Somebody.
Yeah. I'm just a bit puzzled and I can't let go of it.
Puzzled? Okay.
Yeah. Like in your introduction, and usually in your introductions, you mention that contraction happens as a baby, a very young...
Well, it's only a story.
A story. Okay, but I've got this story now, a sort of Adam and Eve story, and forgotten his name, mentioned that he felt, did it come from a sense of rejection as a baby? That,
yes.
Yes, but why? My question...
There's no why. There's no answer.
But it just goes round. Why? Why does it happen? Why does...
No, there's no answer to why, because there's nothing happening. So there's no reason why this appears to be, including the feeling of separation. It just is. It's completely and utterly without meaning or purpose. All of this is completely and utterly without any meaning or purpose. If there was a meaning or purpose, then I could answer you why. But I can't because there isn't.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Hello. As you said, a tree is the expression of the whole.
Sorry?
As you said, a tree is an expression of the whole.
Well, it isn't. No, it's not an expression. It is the whole.
It is a whole, yeah. So are we. So is this.
So is that pillar. So is this arm. So is everything that's happening. It is already wholeness.
Yes. Words are vehicles for energy.
Sorry?
Words are carriers of energy. Between or in the whole, there is just what it is. A
carrier of energy. There's just energy. It doesn't need to be carried anywhere.
It doesn't need to be carried anywhere. No.
Words are carrier for energy.
Oh, I'm just not getting that at all.
Words are just a carrier for energy. Words. WORDS. Words.
What words?
Well, the words that you're talking or he.
The words
They're just
that I'm
words are just information
Yes.
about connected with understanding.
Yes.
You can't find this through words. I did say that already. Whatever we're talking about is only an attempt to describe something that can be understood only.
Yes.
And this has got nothing to do with understanding, or very little to do with understanding. This is about something energetic that's happening, and it's a sudden
Yes.
contraction into.
As I having an apparent experience now standing, or just being, or I have an apparent experience here.
I don't know why, I'm just not getting this at all. Can somebody tell what he's saying?
He said standing and being here, he has an apparent experience.
An apparent experience. Yeah, that's your experience.
Yes.
People live in the experience of what's happening.
Yes.
They are experiencers.
Yes.
Everybody is an experiencer until there isn't anybody. Then there's no experience.
When you could no. We are, or at least that's what we believe to experience, apparently,
The
are a
individual-
human family, and we have a human experience. While we sing together, or maybe dance together, while we have a certain apparent expression, we have a sense of selflessness,
Selfishness.
or well, we have an experience of something that feels.
I don't know why, but I just can't.
No?
What's he saying?
He's telling you that when he is dancing with people, there's a sense of selflessness and wholeness.
Oh, there can be experiences where there doesn't seem to be a separation, but that's just another experience.
Yes.
It's not this at all. That comes and goes emotionally. So there's a feeling, if you're dancing with somebody, emotionally, there's a feeling that emotion is so strong that you feel together, or at least there's a feeling of together. That's got nothing to do with this at all. This can't be described. This is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And it's amazing because it's completely and utterly ordinary and obvious.
I chose to come here today, or
You chose to come here, you
Well,
didn't know. Nobody chose to come here, it's just what happened.
I'm having an apparent experience to look at you.
Okay, so I don't know why, but I'm just not hearing any of that.
Because
Having an apparent experience to look at you.
Oh, look at me, but there's no one to look at.
zo erin praten. Ja. Well, as the tree is an expression of the whole.
No, it's not. There is nothing in the natural world. This is an expression of wholeness. There is only wholeness.
Yes, there's only
The
wholeness.
tree is wholeness, or the tree is nothing, tree. It's not an expression of nothing, tree. It's nothing, tree.
Would you agree that on the film? No. Would you agree that we, in apparent separate experiences, experience apparent like confusion?
Confusion?
Yes.
Oh, totally.
Yes. Yes. That's why I would think that it is welcome to hear you.
Oh, no, it isn't. Oh, no. No. As far as the me is concerned, the me does not want to hear this and never will. The me will never hear this message. This message can't be heard, but the me will reject it as much as it can and escape from it. The me is only has an investment in one thing, to survive. And this is the worst place for the me to be.
Thank you. Actually, I was curious to know what would be a way for us as humans to.
There's no way.
No.
There's no art.
No.
There's no way because there's no art. Art is an appearance of nothing. All I'm looking at is nothing. I can't see anyone here. There are sort of apparent bodies around, but there aren't any people.
No.
Because the idea of there being people is illusory.
There is no witness.
No. There's no one. Wow. I think he needs a permanent microphone. With a big sign that this is William.
I only get that kind of treatment in Kiss Leg. Something hit me when you just said it about the only thing that me is interested in is surviving.
Yeah.
Because sometimes for me it's obvious when the me's trying to survive here, because I might have a strong bodily reaction, like I might leave the meeting, go to my hotel and have an anxiety attack, and it's clear the me's trying to survive. For example. But there's also a lot of subtle ways, I think, like more subtle ways the me's trying to survive. Like when I think, oh, I want this is good for me, I better listen to Tony, so I get it. Like that's the me surviving, isn't it, as well?
Of course. Because seeking is the most effective way to avoid liberation. So even coming here and listening to this and then putting it together as a Meccano set or as something you can follow is another way of avoiding this. It's very, there are all sorts of ways that the me will find.
And even the me saying, I want this, but it can't know what this is.
Even saying I want this is a refusal for it to be. But wanting it adds the energy of intention.
And also because the me can only want something it can conceptualize.
Yeah, you're objectifying it.
What you're saying, or what's being spoken about is beyond anything that could be.
It isn't beyond, no. Beyond is a word I don't know. It is already this. It's already this. It's not beyond anything. It's this. Sitting on a chair, feeling your body, hearing a voice, having a thought. Doesn't matter what you describe, it is all only the beloved. And it's constantly speaking to you. All day, all the time you're sitting here, the beloved that you long for is constantly speaking to you. You can't hear it because you think it's somewhere else. It can't be as ordinary as sitting on a seat. Or sitting on a seat? How can it be just that? It's got to be rising up into the heavens. It's amazing. It is amazing.
And what's kind of... No one has ever said one word about what this is.
No, you can't, but you can't say a word. There is no word that can describe it. None of the words that this thing here uses, which is nothing communicating, nothing. This is just nothing responding, but there aren't any words that will come out of it that can say this. The only thing that can possibly happen in a meeting like this is that somewhere the illusion is illuminated, and that's the only compassion there is. The only compassion there is the compassion of the killer that will illuminate the illusion of you being real.
And I've got another thing to ask, because obviously it's not the words, it's energetic. You would say it's not your energy because it's not a person.
How can it be mine if there's no one here?
But the energy seems to come when that body talks.
Sorry?
I feel that the energy seems to come when that body speaks.
Well, but it's not from here. It's the energy of nothing. But it's everywhere. Wherever you go, when you go to the restaurant tonight to eat your dinner, you're eating the beloved. You are. You can't escape the beloved because the beloved is everything and nothing. You can't escape.
Is it like everything is just vibrating energy and our brains are making stories?
Our brains are.
Making up all the stories about what's
Yeah,
happening?
but not intentionally, but that's what's
No.
happening. The brain
Yeah.
has decided it's separate, and so it lives in that world for the time being.
So everything is just vibrating energy.
Yeah.
And these bodies and these brains are used to making up a lot of concepts and stories, and that's when our individual apparent world appears.
They're living in what they think is the real world.
Okay, thank you.
And they think what they seek is real.
Can this falling out of contraction be very gradual, so that you?
No,
it's always a blowing of fuse.
No, it doesn't. It isn't gradual. And it's not fast.
Okay.
It already is.
Oh, yeah.
It already is.
Obvious.
So it can't start somewhere and end somewhere.
It's already
slowly or quickly, because it's all there is. That's all there is. Even the very idea that it could be slow or quick is also it.
Some Advaita teachers tell you there's this watcher and the thing being
And
watched.
the watching is what happens
Let me end.
when you're seeking. I used to have a watcher.
Is there only the watching being the watched as the same thing? Can you say it
Well,
like this?
it's another way of escaping.
Yeah.
Being the watcher.
I
It's
noticed
very
that.
sort of spiritual.
I think I noticed that, but can I grab your message with there's only seeing?
I don't have a message, and you can't grab it.
Thank you.
Tony, about time. Is time also a story we make up?
Time is an appearance. Did you
It's an
ask about
appearance.
time? What?
Is time a story?
A story.
The time is story. The story needs time, but both of those are only an appearance. They aren't real. There's no real time. There's no real story. They are nothing appearing to be time and a story.
Okay.
And they're completely without meaning or purpose.
It's good
I'm going to go on saying that because people don't want to hear. The me doesn't want to hear that there's no purpose or meaning. So I go on saying it.
Hello, Tony. Yes. This separation doesn't occur with animals?
No, there isn't anything other than the human being that feels separate.
Only in the human being. Okay,
So I don't ask me why.
I won't.
And again, only apparently. Apparently, human beings seem to be the only thing that experience apparent separation.
That's why they feel higher, more aware.
The human being is unbelievably, wonderfully arrogant.
Yes, I noticed.
And it believes that because it has awareness, this is such an amazing joke. The human being believes, some people, mainly spiritual people, believe that because they have awareness, then they're somehow at a higher level than a dog or a tree. Well, what's so absolutely amazing is that it's the awareness that keeps the bloody individual separate, whereas the tree and the dog are totally enjoying being. And of course, it has nothing to do with levels, or a superior level, or lower or higher level. It has nothing to do with that. This has nothing. There aren't any levels because there's nothing happening. How can there be levels? But in the mind of the then
Tony, it seems that like the me, the self-awareness, that seems to be, I experience the world from here. The world is there and here.
Yeah.
Self-awareness, I would say, is like a veil, is completely obscuring the aliveness. It's only occupied with its own survival in the mind.
But then you could say that about any individual. You see, the individual energy, which is a separate energy, is threatened by the world that it lives in because it sees the world as a threat. And other things, of course. There are other things.
Of course, it's a threat if I believe I'm the
But therefore, all individuals live in that world. It's not just seekers, spiritual seekers, but all individuals.
No, the me is only concerned about his own, because it cannot feel secure if the world is there and I'm here. I must defend myself somehow. But it's all in the mind. Yeah. And the mind process is due to the contracted energy that appears somehow. Apparently. So the me is the veil. Apparently.
Well, you could say that. Me is just energy that's veiling the whole.
Veiling the wholeness.
But it's not doing that.
No.
There isn't anything doing that. That's just
what's happening. That is so amazing, isn't it? I mean, the wholeness.
It's amazing.
Appearing as the me.
Yeah.
It's
the cosmic joke.
Yeah, but it's the most wondrous event.
It's wondrous and amazing. People build churches, People go to war. People do anything to prove that their God is better than your God. What goes on in the world is astounding, in a way, but it means nothing. It's just nothing apparently happening. It's meaningless.
It's all construct in the mind due to this simple self-aware energy. Not due to, but as a byproduct of the self-aware energy, we go astray and just, fantasize, fantasy island. It's unbelievable.
Well, no, it's not unbelievable because it's apparently happening.
No.
It's the beloved in that form, don't forget. It's not there aren't any separate enemies, there aren't any separate worlds or anything of that sort. No, it's just nothing appearing in that form.
It's a very thick veil. Apparently it's a very thick veil.
Thick veil?
Thick,
well,
yeah,
it might
very,
be
very
thick,
solid.
It might be thin, it's still a veil.
Hard to see. Thank you.
Hello. To your left. Hi. I wonder if I could ask a question on behalf of all the clever and arrogant humans.
On
behalf of all the clever and arrogant humans in the room.
Oh, right, okay.
That there might be more skillful stories and less skillful.
Skillful stories?
Yes. Not better, not true or false, but just more skillful. Like, for instance, the story that illness is caused by germs is more skillful than the story that it's caused by the evil eye or demons.
Okay.
That the planet is round rather than flat.
What planet is round rather than flat?
Yeah. And that there might be some evidence, I'm thinking here, of the work of Steven Pinker. And there's a cognitive psychologist called Steven Pinker who has...
I've heard of him.
Yeah. Well, he's done sort of vast, very elaborate surveys of how humans can kind of tame and...
How humans can stand pain?
No, can tame their survival instincts, that they can that they can be better at managing their survival instincts.
Oh.
Do you understand?
Well, I do. Yes, I do. Bodybuilding.
So it's all about using trial and error over a period of time. Humans seem to have.
And who's choosing to do that?
Sorry.
Who chooses to do?
Well, I don't have an answer to that. I don't know if he does. It's just that what humans do in society seems. Well, it eventuates in people living. Longevity is doubled in the last.
I don't quite see what that's got to do with what we're talking about here.
Well, my question is: are some narratives more effective than others?
When you say effective, in what way are they effective?
They eventuate in greater happiness, greater longevity.
Oh, more happiness. Oh,
yeah.
So there are things that can make people more happy for a while. Do you really believe that has anything to do with being effective? What's that got to do with freedom?
I think it's not about the big question. It's about humans muddling through.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. So okay. I just wonder if you have any thoughts about that.
Tony? Here, again. I hear you, you use the word being.
I sometimes use it. I must say I'm not very keen on it, really. It sometimes comes up. It's easier to say there's being and being than there's being and nothing, because sort of people can understand possibly, but being really in a way can be understood as a sort of state of being.
Just following up on the guy in the corner was talking about, Tony, effectiveness. Yesterday you were saying you were quite effective yourself in the building world in the 80s in London. Can you hear me?
A bit, yeah. I'm not exactly sure what you're saying.
I'm talking about human effectiveness.
It's got to do with working out a way to be happy.
Yeah.
What's that got to do with what we're talking about here? It's just another choice. It's just
I suppose it's
another system. It's a teaching. It's a teaching.
Yeah. But I suppose, to be honest, we're here for how long? 100 years or whatever. It's nice to be a bit more comfortable while you're here. Do you think?
Likely to be more
comfortable while we're here, you could be on the street, or you could be you could be living in a building like this or something.
The list is endless.
Yeah, you just think it's all meaningless.
Hello, Tony. I've heard you speak of divine love.
Well, only.
Or what is it?
There isn't anything divine.
Ah.
No, I'm not into the divine stuff.
Okay.
I might have mentioned divine love in some sort of passionate speech one
or
day.
that the divine, or that the divine is always calling me.
Sorry?
Or the divine is always calling.
I don't like the word divine.
Oh, okay.
It's too.
I'm glad you
too
say
much
that.
to do with God and all that crap.
Okay. I'm glad you say that because I've heard people who have been in sorrow or have said that
Can you speak a bit louder, please?
Okay, that they said that they felt a very strong feeling of some divine or love or something. I've never felt that, so I kind of feel jealous when I hear people talk about that, and I just wanted to know what you meant by that.
Yeah.
The only thing that I have really ever felt that brought me out of my little kind of self.
Actually, maybe you can take the microphone slightly away from your mouth.
That I felt more expanded was that a feeling of just very, very deep peace.
Very
and
deep sleep.
Peace.
No, it's not deep peace.
Anyway,
this has got nothing
at
to do with being
peace,
peaceful.
and that I am just everything. That I'm not, or I'm everything.
Okay.
Or everywhere. So I just would like you to explain to me this, the state of deep sleep.
No, I can't.
No. Okay. It's unexplainable. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tony? Just another, noticing that the self-awareness or the me would be the last place I would look for to see that. To see that it is the seeming veil, that there's no search, because the search and the me.
Search is the end of you. It's the end of you.
The search and the me are in the same place.
Sorry?
The search and the me are the same.
Yeah. There isn't anything that isn't that belongs.
Yeah, and the meing process, or the whatever.
Intention.
Would be the last place I would look in order to see it.
I know, but there isn't a last place.
No, I mean, I would never have imagined that. I always thought that the solution, or there is something to aim to arrive at, or to a conclusion, or a place, or a placeless place, whatever. But then that the search itself is the veil.
The what is the veil?
The search, the contraction.
Well, in a way, it's the veil, but it's also the beloved.
Yes, absolutely. This is the joke.
It's all that's happening in this room. All the time we're talking, all that's happening is the beloved. Whatever is happening to you, whatever is apparently happening to you in very simple language, it's the beloved already. Even the seeking, even the questioning, even the thoughts, even the discomfort in the chair and moving your chair, even lifting your left eyebrow, even breathing, even whatever is happening is constantly talking to you all the time. It's making love to you all the time, and you can't hear it because you think it's somewhere else. It's the only constant, perfect lover. It will never leave you. It will never leave you. It hasn't come from anywhere, and it's not going anywhere. It is already this. And it doesn't matter if we don't talk for the rest of the afternoon. It wouldn't matter if one word wasn't said anymore for the whole afternoon, because none of that makes any difference to the fact that already you are completely enveloped in the beloved. Completely enveloped in the beloved, already. For me, the most amazing thing that I saw when I was a tiny child, and then later on that became the realised, or that how it became, is what's astounding is that the beloved is constantly all there is, all the time, day and night. It's speaking, it's moving, it's feeling, it's your feeling, it's your moving, it's your hearing, it's your sight. And it simply is going on. And you're going, let's be more effective. I can be happier, you know.
Tony, you know, in the book of Genesis, it talks about, I grew up very religious, with a lot, reading the Bible and stuff. It talks about the knowledge of good and evil. And what you're saying there really is a cancer diagnosis, or winning the lottery. Winning the lottery would say, oh, that's good. A cancer
say that last bit again.
Winning the lottery.
Say if
winning the lottery.
If you won the lottery, it'd be good.
You've already won it though. The lottery's going on right now. So everybody in this room has won the lottery. Okay. We are flooded by the millions. All the time, constantly.
Would say, the mind could say, oh, I've got a cancer. I've got a cancer diagnosis. That's evil.
Because the mind's selective. Yeah. The mind says, oh no, it's all that. And what he's saying is a load of bullshit. Because I know where it is. If you really work hard and try hard, one day you will find it. You can't possibly accept the fact that already what is longed for is all that's happening.
That's what you mean by winning the lottery in wholeness language.
Again, Tony.
Sorry.
Excuse me, yes. I spoke about the divine love, but actually what you said was the beloved, and that's a little bit of my confusion. But you just said something that the beloved is always looking, or we are
You're
the
getting
beloved.
muddled up with words. Who
Could
gives
you
a fuck
please
about
explain
the word
it?
beloved or divine? All of it is
Beloved. Could you explain to me what you mean by beloved?
No.
So that I can understand?
No, I couldn't.
Okay.
Because if I did, you would then get hold of it as another thing that could be understood.
Okay, because when you say beloved, it sounds to me like beloved is other, my beloved.
Because you are totally embroiled in the idea of escaping this by analysing every word you get hold of. Beloved, divine, what does it mean? What does it mean?
I just want to understand what you mean.
What you
want to say,
but I don't
because it sounds
understand what I mean.
dualistic.
How can you understand what I mean if I don't understand what I mean? I don't understand what I mean. I'm speaking out of nothing, and I'm saying that all there is,
okay, because
all that you long for is already happening in this. It's already there.
Okay.
It's not divine or beloved or effective or whatever.
Peace, inner
it is
peace.
just life. Life is happening in this
Okay.
room. Isn't that amazing?
Okay, so the words don't matter.
No.
Okay, thank you.
Ooh.
So nothing ever sticks, right? Nothing sticks.
No. Except in the dualistic world, everything sticks. Everything is sticky. It's sticky, it clings to you, and you know what you did yesterday afternoon you shouldn't have done, and I wonder if anybody will ever love you again, all that crap. It's all sticky stuff. And it's about the future and the past and what people think of you and what you feel about them.
Apparently sticky.
Because of course dualism is in the stickiness and the glue of time.
Yes.
Dualism is that the time is real.
So in reality, there's just the energy moving, and in our duality, it's sticky. In our minds, it's sticky in time. But what happens when the body dies?
Well, the body dies.
Yeah, the body dies, and then this perception is gone.
What we're talking about.
Right. Yeah. Nothing to do with what we're talking about.
No.
So what you said. So everything just goes on.
What apparently happens is that the body dies.
Right.
Meaning.
Okay.
What is not the body. The body is just part of it.
Yeah. I get that.
The body is what is, but it's not the what is. It's not everything.
No. Yeah. So it's just the end of this mind. Yeah. Okay. Nothing is lost.
Oh. Can't get rid of it quickly now. The talking stick.
Tony, I grew up in a very Catholic.
Yeah, I know.
The parish priest pointed to heaven, and I listened to him. Yeah.
So did I.
Yeah, and I thought, oh, this is it. I need to be a good Catholic and follow the rules. Then, okay, make a long story short, I heard Tony Parsons.
But also before that, although you tried to be good, it was very difficult to be good and not be good and avoid being not good, because being not good was much more enjoyable than being good. That's what I found anyway.
Yeah, the story was, there was a lot of struggle, like I'm talking years, like, and then...
You didn't really meet Tony Parsons, you meant nothing.
But you apparently, you're pointing at something.
Well, there is a pointing to something, but it is that there is no good and evil. There's nothing right or wrong. All there is nothing apparently happening. The idea that there's right and wrong is also nothing apparently happening.
It's just interesting how
it's based on the illusion that there's such a thing as something that's real.
Which cannot be understood. But still apparently has an appearance that brought me...
It's an appearance. Everything is only an appearance.
Yeah.
Tony. It's hitting me now what you said before about everyone's already won the lottery in this room. And you said once before, all there is absolute abundance. And something about that is ringing true, even though, just nothing has ever been lost.
So
something about that is ringing true, that nothing's ever been lost.
No. But what the seeker loses is their own sense of themselves and the idea that there's an object that they can find. That's the loss for the seeker. The seeker loses everything. But of course it's of no value anyway, because it's only driving them on in the seeking world.
I know you would say I assume you would say the whole world is just an appearance, so it's not real.
Yeah.
But in the apparent world, the whole energy is driven by this immense sense of loss.
No, only in the individual.
That's what
I mean, there's a world full of dogs and animals and trees. They couldn't give a fuck about seeking anything because they are already whole. They're not seeking anything. The only thing which is interesting, for God's sake, don't ask me why, is that the individual is locked into this tragedy. It's nothing being everything. Nothing is very clever. Nothing can be anything. It can be a human being seeking nothing. It's amazing.
It's funny you use the word tragedy because I was with Jim the other week and I was talking about the sense of dissatisfaction and someone said to him, "Don't you find that funny?" He goes, "No, it's very tragic."
Yeah.
But when we've spoken before, you've talked about the me crisis and I think you wrote about it as well.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. It's like in the human world, the world of the individual, it's less and less able to distract itself.
Totally. But also very deeply frustrated in not being able to find what he really wants. Because he's looking for it.
And it's growing that sense of frustration.
It's huge. It's colossal, it's huge. In the sense of being a story.
I know
it's a crisis that the me is reaching the peak of at this time in the apparent world. But all of that's only an appearance.
I want to ask this question, even though it will sound very dualistic, obviously. In a way, what is kind of like imbalance.
A balance.
What is imbalance, would you say?
Totally.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing happening, yeah.
So in the appearance of dualism, there's an apparent balance.
Oh, there's apparent imbalance, yeah.
No, but what I mean is I thought there was apparent balance. Because what I mean is, as the frustration of the me not being able to get what it wants increases, then this message comes about.
Yeah, that's
not
also
out of as a response.
But you're talking about two different things. In the dualistic world, there is complete imbalance. It's just in the narrow dualistic world of me, there's an imbalance. There's a battle going on. But in the whole, of course, it's utterly neutral and balanced because there's nothing happening. There's nothing happening, so how could there be imbalance in nothing? It could appear as imbalance, but
it still shocks me.
We're watching in the world at the moment the imbalance of dualism working.
It still shocks me how, I know it's growing in numbers, how many people are coming to these meetings compared to when you started, but compared to the amount of apparent people in the world, it still just shocks me that there aren't thousands of people queuing to get in and going to just go, "No, sorry, we're full."
I mean, Claire and I are amazed that anybody comes at all to these meetings because they're completely without any value. And we're also amazed that the whole world doesn't come. And if they did, I could buy 100 Ferraris. And then I'd be effectively happy.
For 5 minutes. For 5 minutes. Morning, 5 minutes. You'd be happy for 5 minutes.
I think well. still, we're not speaking and it's still going. When you walk out of here, it'll still be going. Wherever you go, it'll be going, because it's all there is. Isn't that amazing? Mike, right over there.
Thanks. Hello. What I find confusing is the idea of astonishment that you always talk about. Astonishment, it's astounding, it's amazing. Wonder. Without the idea of an observer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, well, absolutely. There can only be wonder if there's no observer.
Okay, I'm confused.
Observation only happens in dualism. 2, I observe. 1. 1, 2. Observer, observed. Dualism.
Yes, but how can there be a sense of wonder without observation?
Oh, sweetheart! I love it. How can there be a tree without an observer of the tree? It's all the same thing. It isn't that there isn't anything that observes the tree. There is only tree. There is only wonder. There isn't anybody in wonder. This thing here isn't in wonder. This thing here is everything. It's all there is. There isn't a thing here that is wondering at everything happening. There is only everything happening. It can't be described. It can't be. And for the mind, the idea that there could just be this is utterly impossible to conceive. The mind has to have something that can see there is only this. There are lots of people on YouTube talking about non-duality who actually are saying you can see that you are non-dual. It's a fucking unbelievable. It's the gross ignorance of that idea. That come to see that there is only you, or come to see that there's only one, or come to see that there's no me. Who's going to see that there's no me?
That I kind of conceptually can't grasp, but
Okay.
kind of logically, A plus B, okay. But the idea of this feeling of wonder arising without...
No, it doesn't arise, it just is.
Okay, already. Just there.
Go on, I've interrupted you.
No, it's just, you're saying it's just there already.
There's been
Without
nothing else, there
a
is
source
nothing
or
else
an
but-
object.
There is nothing else but that.
Okay. Thanks.
Tony.
Where are you? Oh.
Just when.
Hello, Irish.
Yeah. No, it's just when you wave your hands like that and you say, all there is this, and the eyebrow. I love the simplicity, sitting on a chair, and that lady is kind of saying the same thing, what I'm feeling. The confusion is like, how can you say that without there being an observer, you know what I mean?
No, say that bit again.
Sometimes you just like wave your hands in the air, right?
Yeah, I've heard all that.
You
but
talk
I didn't
about
hear the last
the eyebrow moving, the simplicity of sitting on a chair, which is beautiful. I love it. And all there is this, you know, those words.
I haven't said I love it. You're saying that.
Okay.
I don't love it. How can I love it? Then I would be somebody who loves the idea.
What's
of
pointing?
what
What's
we're talking
pointing to that?
That's dualism.
I think what that lady is talking about, and I'm trying to ask the same question. What's pointing to that?
Nothing at all. Oh no, nothing. Nothing. So if there's something pointing to it, you're back in the world of dualism. There's a pointing, even without a person, there's pointing to that. 1, 2. For Christ's sake, grow up, wake up.
But who's going to wake up? Who's waking up? There's no.
It's amazing, isn't it? How it's got to get back to 2, hasn't it? It can only be safe for 2.
Can I have a microphone, please? I said a bit about this yesterday where there's like a relaxation in the body listening and then there's suddenly anxiety. And it's like today it's even more visceral where there's a huge release of just laughing and then my body's just like fully trembling. My entire body like tremor. I don't know what it is. Is it?
No. Well, who cares? It's what it is. It's a beloved. But I'll hear what you say. I'm not.
It's just, it's weird how listening to this, I know it's energetic, you keep saying, but can cause such like a dramatic reaction in the body.
And that's a trembling, is it? Oh.
For me, it's like the whole body's just shaking. It's almost like a shock. It's like the body's going into shock.
Yeah. It's really the apparent me energy, which isn't real, going into shock rather than the body. The body's just the body.
I think what it is because when you said it yesterday when I was talking to you, the body relaxes a lot as this kind of. And
you see, yeah, go on.
Well, I'm just hoping that. Yeah, I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Who is it?
Thank you.
Tony, I'm just wondering about when I'm asleep.
Say that again.
When I'm asleep.
You're wondering about?
When I'm asleep at night.
Oh.
So this is nothing, really humaning, breathing.
There is a deep sleep where there is apparently no sense of me.
Yeah.
When there just is what there is.
Yeah.
And then as the sleeping becomes more shallow, then what can appear is the sense of me dreaming about itself.
Yeah.
But the deep sleep can't be remembered because there wasn't anybody there.
It's a curiosity. So there's a great.
You could almost say that actually with all the madness of being a me for 23 hours of the day, there's an odd hour when it's all over. It's a rest that's needed from all that fucking madness.
Yeah. So that gives me a glimmer of hope.
Oh God, does it? Oh
no.
Dear. Oh, I've failed again.
But alongside that deep sleep, somebody yesterday mentioned Alzheimer's, somebody whose mind is switched off. I work with a...
But is it switched off? I don't know enough about Alzheimer's to know that. I'm not sure it is.
Yes.
It's not, the mind doesn't switch off.
No. Sometimes it can look like the person
well, it can look like that,
is just happy.
Well...
Happy just being. But I work with a young boy who has a brain injury, who is always seems to be in that state of just being.
I don't know anything about that.
Yeah. Just curious about moments we can see nothing being human without this me business going on. Anyway, thanks.
Is the microphone still over there? Tony, when you said it's the me that's going into shock, you said it's the me that's going into shock.
Well, you said more trembling or...
Yeah, I said the body was trembling like a state of shock.
It's the energy of the me that's trembling. Yeah.
What I was going to ask is, what is the shock for the me?
Well, the awfulness of this, the possibility of death. You know, the me will find any way it can, even through seeking, to avoid dying. What the I or the me longs for more than anything else, is its own absence. And what it fears more than anything else is its own absence. And when the I is threatened by this, then there's a...
If the me can't hear any of this message...
Oh, well, I don't think it's to do with hearing. I think it's energy.
So the me can sense that it's going to be...
The me is an energy. It's an energy of tight anxiety. There isn't a me, but the me energy is an anxiousness. And the resistance and the suspicion and all that stuff. It's contracted energy. And when it hears this, it's frightened by this.
It wants to contract tighter, to hold on. So the me is safer outside of the meetings.
Sorry?
The me is safer outside of the meetings.
Oh, this is the worst place for me to be.
That's why I always tell myself I'm not going to come back, but...
Tony, can I ask about bliss experiences?
Bliss, no.
No.
Okay. My own feeling about the bliss thing is it's just a higher emotional state. Yeah. Got nothing to do with it.
Okay, let me rephrase then. So there was one time that I had like half a minute where I have the feeling that the me was gone.
Yeah.
And it felt very nice.
Who had the feeling?
Yeah.
There was just about a glimpse. A glimpse is there's no one.
Right. Yeah. There were emotions. But the anxious me was gone for a bit, and then there was like tears and gratitude and a lot of love feelings. But so in this philosophy, it's just like that's just what's happening, right? It's just one of the things that can happen, and that's it, right? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't mean anything.
All there is what's happening.
Yeah.
Although because there's only apparently what's happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm trying to say to everybody I go on saying, look, it's happening. It's still happening. It's only apparently happening.
Yeah. So one state isn't higher or better than the other.
No,
it's all. It's just the whole thing is. Bliss doesn't mean a thing. No. Okay. Thank you.
Tony, can I share something with you that Jim said? Can I share something with you that Jim said that I really like? Is it okay to share something with you that Jim said that I really like?
Yeah.
He said, the message is like a mirror, but there's no reflection in it. So it's like seeing your own absence. And I really like that because it's what you said about death is like looking in a mirror and seeing like the me doesn't get shown anything back.
No. Well, yeah. Yeah.
Because it's like everything it does, its whole seeking energy, it wants to confirm, it wants to see itself reflected back, doesn't it?
Wants to be the observer.
was the last thing you said?
It wants to be the observer. That's why awareness is such a popular thing in the dualistic teaching world. It's like a tool that can be used. And what's amazing about it is that there are huge movements towards encouraging awareness in the dualistic world, and you couldn't have anything more effective for separation than awareness. I'm aware sitting on a seat.
Tony, when looking is happening from there?
What's happening from here? There's nothing happening here because there's no here.
But,
There's no here.
okay, how can I rephrase that? Is there still a location where you look from?
No, I don't. No, there isn't. I'm not. There isn't anything. There is no I looking from here. There's only what is.
But seeing is happening.
Sorry?
Seeing is happening.
Feeling
Seeing.
is happening. Seeing is
the
happening.
eyes. Seeing.
Feeling is happening, apparently. Seeing is apparently happening. Hearing is apparently happening. It's the same with you. Everybody in this room can apparently, well, no, everybody in this room, seeing and feeling are apparently happening.
Just sensations.
Same thing, there's no difference between this and that. That's why I go on saying, look, you know, you're sitting in what you long for. There can't be anything other than what you long for. Even the longing for what you long for is also what it is. Sorry.
So the difference is that then we come in and we claim it to be our seeing.
You claim.
There is just seeing. There is seeing.
Well, there's apparent seeing.
Apparent seeing. And then we come in because we are full of me.
Yeah, you take
claiming
ownership.
It's my seeing.
You take ownership of seeing.
I make a story.
I see. It's me seeing. That's why Christ said it's more difficult for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. The individual is a rich man. His own seeing and thinking, thinks it dreams, thinks so, seeing, hearing, everything. He thinks he owns that. Is tea ready? Yeah, tea's ready. And coffee.